Hey, Douglas Trevino with Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate here in Southwest Florida. I wanted to do a quick video because I was asked a question by one of the agents on my team who used to work pretty heavily with buyers and has since transitioned to work with sellers. Now this has been a year, so he's a lot of experience now working with sellers. And he brought up a good point. He asked me, he said, I was asked by a seller, prospective seller, when he sat down with them in a gated community, and the agent he's sold properties on the buying side in the neighborhood, but had not yet listed a property in that neighborhood. And the sellers asked him, how much experience do you have in this neighborhood specifically, and how many homes have you sold? So he was blunt with them, of course, and he says, I sold homes in the neighborhood. However, I have not yet listed a home. And he says, well, let me ask you, what do you think about, what kind of experience should I have? What market knowledge or neighborhood knowledge is there to know that I couldn't find out in about an hour by calling the association and such, and asking the homeowner questions, who knows about the neighborhood because they live there. He ended up actually getting the listing, which is great, but he asked me a follow-up, and he says, I wasn't quite clear on the relevance of that, or the importance, or should I even address that? And I said, here's my experience with that. There are some agents who specifically listing agents who hone in on specific neighborhoods, and they call it a farm area, or whatever you want to call it, and that's where they want to sell. And they market very, very heavily through newsletters and etc., and really push to expose themselves to the homeowners in the area, so that when they think of selling, they think of them. Now, as a backstory on that property that my agent went to go see, it was actually an expired listing, which means it didn't sell. And it had been listed with the neighborhood expert, and it did not sell. And I had asked them, I said, well, so they were listed with a neighborhood expert, and I said, now let me ask you, how did that work out? And the clear answer is it didn't sell. And I said, so all of the knowledge that you have, or that agent had of that neighborhood, and as detailed as he was, he still couldn't sell the property. And I said, the bottom line is this, and this is what I tell people, and I said, you could say the same thing because it's true. I said, the only factor that needs to be considered in terms of selling a home is marketing. Marketing is what sells homes, period. All of the knowledge of a specific neighborhood and all of the details of the association and the fees and the benefits and the little hidden nuances of a neighborhood that may not be known to an outside buyer, all of that could be discovered and learned within, less than an hour or two by making appropriate calls and talking to the homeowner, who obviously knows everything about this. It's not that difficult to become an expert in a neighborhood. It's actually very easy. The question isn't it's what kind of marketing is going to be brought to the table. And with a company like Coldwell Banker, where we are dominating the internet in terms of exposure, period, just straight out of the gates. Without Coldwell Banker pays millions, and as an agent we benefit because out of the gate we don't have to go and pay for premier listings on Realtor.com or Trulia or Zillow. We get premier listings, we get the big pictures, we get priority listing over anybody else, where other agents with local companies or even some major companies have to pay out of pocket for that kind of thing. And let me tell you, there are so many listings on Trulia and Zillow and Realtor.com where they're the small pictures. They're not that advertised. And a lot of them are with big companies because it costs a lot of money out of pocket. It's one less marketing expense, or let me just say, the money that would have gone to that, being with Coldwell Banker, we can also use that money to market additionally on top of that, to gain or garner the most exposure out there, okay, to not just local clients or potential buyers, but also global. International buyers are our biggest contingent, as I've said again and again. So we can actually expose ourselves and market through networking and through marketing pieces to get the massive amount of exposure that's necessary to bring multiple buyers and to see the home and make offers. So the question isn't, you know, are you the neighborhood expert? Well, I could become one in an hour. I mean, I don't care what neighborhood it is. Absolutely. I will learn about that neighborhood and become the neighborhood expert in a very short span of time. However, on top of that, we're going to market that property to the nth degree to bring the requisite buyers. If it's priced correctly, priced competitively, not low, but priced competitively, our ultimate goal is to have, you know, fiduciary responsibility to our clients, seller clients. So we want to net them the most money possible, and we want to make money. Very few agents are in this to make little money, so it's really a win-win situation. The agent wants to make as much money as possible. They need to look at the market and strategize and see how much we can get and potentially get, and we need to make sure that jives with what the seller would like to get. So, you know, it really comes down to just marketing. Marketing is what sells homes. So that should be the key point that you ask agents if you're a seller is, what is your marketing plan? How do you market homes? What does Coldwell Banker do? What do you do additionally? And again, straight out of the gate, Coldwell Banker offers seller clients a massive advantage over any other company out there, even major brands. And there's reasons for that, and we can get into that certainly. If you have questions, email or call me, I can explain that. But that's what I told him, and I said ultimately that's what you should tell sellers, that marketing is the key. Anybody could become a neighborhood expert very, very quickly. And let me tell you, there are a lot of neighborhood experts who only sell in specific neighborhoods who may not do a huge volume of business. The other benefit is being an agent where you have a property listed in Fort Myers and you have a property listed in Cape Coral and Estero, multiple locations. If you take let's say a new listing in Bonita Springs, if you're an agent who hasn't worked there and you take a listing there, there may be a lot of people who aren't geographically bound buyers, meaning that. So they're not specifically looking for one area, they're looking for a type of home. And when they look in Fort Myers on that agent's listing and they call up, that house might not match their needs, and that agent can then show them all the other listings and take them to Bonita Springs and say, hey, have you considered this area? So they're able to actually tap into a bigger market than a neighborhood expert who's only listed in that neighborhood and who only is going to get inquiries in that specific neighborhood. So it certainly is even beneficial that way. You're going to have more signs out, you're going to have more buyer inquiries, and you're going to hopefully be able to attract more people to your listings. Having your listings as an agent, it's your job to sell your properties first, because that's what your clients hired you to do. Now, if somebody comes along and they have criteria as a buyer that none of your properties match, well then at that point, yes, you go outside of your listings and then you try to sell what's on the market, and you're going to sell other people's properties. That's how it should work, but it's that listing agent's job to sell their own listings. If another agent happens to buy it, terrific. That's great, but that's part of them selling it. So anyway, that's what I kind of relayed to them. If you're a seller, you have questions, by the way, we're walking into season and it is a fabulous time to be on the market. The inventory's starting to rise again. It was low, but it still is relatively low. And that's going to certainly change come January, December and January. So if you're looking to be on the market, now is the time to get a head start, get on the market, garner those views, take advantage of a powerful marketing plan, and get exposed above everyone else before the influx happens. So definitely, if you're interested in listing your home for sale or you're buying a home and you have questions, feel free to give me a call, 239-410-4460, or visit me on the web at www.purefloridaluxury.com. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Bye.